So the MPP for Scarborough-Southwest, Doly Begum is an incredible leader in the Scarborough community, and she's here with us today to share a few words about how she's been navigating her work in the COVID climate and what that sort of means in terms of organizing and activism and all of that comes with it. So if Doly wants to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. I always forget that you have to go through this mute button thing all the time. So hi. Thank you so much for the intro, Lulu. I didn't know that people call you Lulu, so now I do, and that's what I'm going to call you. And I was listening in to everyone else as you're talking about your day and introducing, talking about the organization. So I just wanted to say, that's amazing. It's incredible to see the work that you're all doing. A huge thank you to the Students' Union, to the Political Science Students' Union for inviting me here today, to both of you, as well as for the work that you're doing. I think it was Gavin who was saying that he's been working with community leaders and health networks to provide, PPEs. There's PPE to a lot of different places that need it most. So it's really incredible to see the work that you all have been doing, and I'm really grateful to be here and be a part of this. It's been really interesting, and the past few months I think has completely changed the way we view democracy and the pillars of democracy. So I'm the MPP for Scarborough-Southwest, which is sort of the you can say the beginning of Scarborough as we head east, or it's sort of the end of Scarborough in terms of the next riding is Beaches East York. So we're in a very diverse location with homes that go from $1 million or more to social housing. We have co-ops, we have shelters, youth shelters. To be more specific, we have one of the highest child poverty in the riding. We have a very huge amount of need for social housing. There's a lot of things that I deal with, and over the past 2 years, this is my first term as MPP. Over the past 2 years, I have had the honor of representing the incredible people of Scarborough-Southwest. It's also very diverse in the sense that people from so many different parts of the world have come here to live. So as a Bangladeshi Canadian, I'm proud to represent a lot of Bangladeshis who live in Scarborough-Southwest, as well as a very strong South Asian community. So we have a very strong Pakistani community, very strong Tamil community, very strong Filipino community, as well as Black community. And those are some of the big ones that I'm pointing out because I've had the chance to work with these groups of people in Scarborough-Southwest. And I put on a lot of hats in terms of the work that I do in the legislature. So as the deputy whip for our official opposition caucus, I get to be sort of the class captain of our MPPs, which is very interesting because sometimes when you have veteran senior MPPs, it was a lot of a learning experience for me to figure out how to sort of whip in that position, if I may say. So there has been a lot of interesting experiences that I can bring in, and I can go on about that. But I don't want to take too long, really nagging on those points. And as a critic for early learning and childcare, I'm sure you guys are seeing all the different questions and anxiety and pressure that a lot of parents are feeling in terms of the work, people going back to work, but also what's happening with our school reopening, but childcare reopening. So as someone who has the portfolio for childcare, which includes home daycare, etc., a lot of people are worried about what's going to happen when kids go back to school. But right now, a lot of people are concerned, what does it mean when we send our kids to childcare spaces? And our ECEs, are they safe? Are parents safe as they pick up their children? And a lot of those provisions that weren't really thought out. So as an opposition member, I just want to touch a little bit in terms of what it has meant in terms of the work that you guys do, focusing on democracy, focusing on civic engagement, because as I understand it, that's what the session is about today, the webinar is about today. As an opposition member, sometimes I have to first, give out the caveat or the disclaimer, which is there are a lot of days where you feel like it has been 14 hours long and you accomplished very little. Because with the majority government, especially with the Doug Ford government, we have a lot of legislations being rammed through, a lot of people really struggling, and the gap between rich and poor, that and it's really increasing. And so we're always consistently fighting for a lot of people who are just sort of on the edge right now. And that's the sometimes it becomes a little bit frustrating. Sometimes it's heartbreaking to see what people deal with, whether it's kids who don't have breakfast to eat, and COVID-19 had really pointed out some of those problems. One of the first things I still remember, and I've talked about this in the past as well, which was when schools were closing in the Oak Ridge region where I actually live. One of the nutritionists that I talked to said to me, I'm not really concerned about COVID as much as I'm worried what the kids are going to do when they're stuck at home. And I thought, what do you mean? Tell me a little bit more, because I was confused as to what was she talking about. And we've worked with her in the previous months in terms of keeping up with the I don't know if you remember Power Snack. That's sort of the program they have. They have a morning breakfast program. And she said, it's because a lot of these kids come to school and they have their breakfast. That's sort of the main meal of the day, and they probably have a nice dinner at the end, maybe, hopefully. And that's just heartbreaking. We're talking about Toronto, we're talking about Canada, we're talking about one of the best countries we live in. And I was reading the comments, and I'm so grateful as well as an immigrant woman, a Muslim woman. It's I feel grateful every single day to be living here, to have the opportunity to run for office, to be able to sit in the legislature and represent people, who need a voice, who need to be heard. And I think I couldn't have done it if it wasn't for the community, if it wasn't for my parents, and if it wasn't for this land. And sometimes I think we have to make sure that as grateful as we are, we fight really hard for the people who have sacrificed so much. We fight hard for the people whose land this belongs to. We fight hard for the people who are still struggling and have given so much. And that's a significant, that's a big challenge right now, but it's also a pillar of democracy in the sense that we have to make sure that representation matters, and it matters in the sense of who is representing us, who is being our voice. And one of the things I said before I remember when I was thinking of running was, even if I don't get the nomination, or even if I don't win this election, I hope that we can create a path where many young men and women, especially young people of color, can feel that they can run for office as well, that they can strengthen what democracy means. And we can have a thin definition of democracy, or we can have a very thick definition of democracy. And I remember the first time I was reading Robert Dahl's definition and thinking, wow, that's a really wide range of understanding of what democracy really looks like. But we have a really problematic system right now that we're dealing with, where people are feeling like they're falling off. They're falling through the cracks, and whether it's discrimination, whether it's poverty, whether it's lack of opportunities, there's a lot of work to be done. And I'm really proud of the work that you guys are doing, especially making sure that you're engaged. The town hall series sounds amazing. You're bringing the people who are doing the work to the young people, to the students, so that they can ask the questions. And sometimes, what, the funniest things I can tell, actually, if you watch question periods, sometimes there are times I have had conversations with the ministers, whether it was health minister or education minister, where we have asked questions and I felt that they had no idea, or they didn't even think about that problem. So until you ask the right questions, these people won't even look at that as a problem. And to me, it's people who have never been to a public school, now, leading the Ministry of Public Education. That's scary. And so that's why what you guys are doing, bringing the questions to the politician, making sure that you're holding them accountable, and making sure that people are informed about what to do, how to stay safe. It's remarkable. So I've spoken a lot. Apparently, it's something that politicians do. And as I get older, I hope I don't continue. It doesn't increase. It doesn't get worse. But I've already started that. So I want to end here and say thank you so much. Happy to answer any questions. I'll leave my contact information on the comment section as well. We have a great thing called the Provincial Youth Cabinet, and Lulu's part of it. And it's a really great group of people with some good work that we do. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we weren't able to continue with the same mandate. But basically what we do is we divide you into different ministries where you have a portfolio yourself, and you come up with a policy recommendation that I take to Parliament. And it's my way of making sure that young people become more engaged and more prepared, so that you can shape policy, you can run for office, and you can be the one making positive change. So thank you so much. Best of luck to all of you, and stay in touch. If there's anything that I can do, I'm happy to help.